friend. Well, let's catch up on the news. Someone a few days ago asked me, says, "Hey, are you going to catch up on the story on DDO?" And I told him I would like to, but since it was over 2 days old, I wouldn't be able to catch that on the website because they put a timer maybe a day or two, and then the news is no longer like available. You can't find the link, you know. But I got lucky. You have to play with the website, basically. You have to play with the website. I don't think it's intended, but I found a, a shortcut there. So I got it, man. I managed to find it, and I'm totally confused on this news, and I'm trying to figure it out with you. So let's do this, man. Hola, Javier Latin and DJ. What's up, man? Hope you guys can hear me. I'm still using the crappy mic, but I ordered a new audio interface so I can plug the real microphone in. Hopefully that works out. Bonjour, Pat Dagenet. So, welcome, boys. So, I know nothing about this next story. It leaves me completely confused, but we're going to be able to at least find some clues. It's a good one, you know? This is a good clue. It's a very good clue for us. So, one news that we didn't cover, but it was a few days ago. A man was offed by bullets in DDO, Dollar des Ormeaux, in the West Island, which is not too far from where Del Balzo was offed. But it follows the classic signature that we've seen that I have not mentioned, but if you followed the channel, you would have noticed that yourself. But I'll bring your attention to that. Oh, thank you, DJ. Good to know, man. It's depressing to have to start over. So many offings you'll notice. If you didn't, please notice it now. Keep it for the future so we could point this out over and over again because it will not end. People die after leaving the mall or when they're parked at the mall. For example, Chénier Dupuis got off similarly in Galerie d'Anjou, and that was not the first. There's many other examples, but of course, I have a hard time remembering things. You know, I have a bad memory. Hi, Ibatlas. So, yeah, today we're covering the news someone asked for, managed to find out. A crip got offed in a commercial parking lot of a mall. And guess what? As usual, we have a gym in front. Now, I don't know if he was leaving the gym or not, but we've seen that tons of them also, another similarity is they're leaving the gym and they get offed. Or they're leaving, or they're in the parking lot of a mall. Specifically, I'm saying it's a mall, you know, not like a because there are strips. They are not malls. There's like these long parking lots with tons of like mini restaurants, mini stores. I turn your attention specifically to big malls, big, large malls, not just strips. So let's keep going now. We have a Stevens Cantave. You could bet he's has some Haiti in him, in my opinion. It's just for us to spot where this is going. He's a street gang member of Blue Allegiance, and he was often DDO. So what's going on? Daniel Renault covering this for us. He was hit in the top of a torso at approximately 5:50 p.m. This article is on the 6th of February, and it happened on Boulevard des Sources, close to Boulevard Brunswick. Those who are from the West Island, that's your go-to place, man. You've certainly driven that artery. And if you live in the West Island, certainly you're driving because there are no metro stations there. But they're trying to build a tramway, which I'm not too excited about. Why don't they just make a damn metro? Make things easier so we don't have to go through these massive switches. It's extremely annoying, man. But for us who drive, for those of us who own, who operate the BMW, you know, saying Forger, what are you talking about? Talking about taking trains. Well, Forger's a proud owner or proud operator of a BMW. It's called Bus Metro Walk. Yeah. But anyways, going back to our story, my good fella. So the suspect escaped on board of a vehicle before the police arrived. No surprise there. Okay. They're saying that this murder happened, I shouldn't have used that word, but this happened near Francesco del Balzo. Not near, but near enough, they're saying. And he was also off in front of a gym, Funny enough, this one's in front of a gym too, based on this picture. Let's keep going. Yeah, the Christmas and New Year resolution is over. Back to normal now. So that's actually a funny fact, you know. We should observe it for next year if I'm still here with you guys. You never know. Not saying I'm sick, but I wouldn't know because I don't go see any doctors. We're what? We're February like 10th or 9th or something today. So it took about, it's good, huh? It took about a month, let's say a month and a half for these guys to get back to normal, man, and start killing each other. But the Blues of the West, it's titled here. According to our information, this newspaper, Cantave, the guy who went to the Shadow Realm, would have been very active in the trafficking of stupefyers in the neighborhood of Saint Michel. Saint Michel, Blue District. I mean gangs. And I mean Gregory Woolley. And I mean hometown. And I mean the original, right there. Then yeah, and you just need to know West Island is more Anglophone. So it's going to be more of the Anglo crowd, and then Saint Michel is going to be more of the Franco crowd. According to a source, he would have been known by the police, of course, as an individual who did not hesitate to use violence to execute certain tasks, such as collecting money. Let's keep that in mind, guys. Collecting money. Collecting money for who? That's the real $1 million question. Cantave was close to Marquens Vilme. Tells me, said something to it rings a bell in my head. We've spoken about this Marquens Vilme, me and you, before, I promise you. A member of the Rough Riders, a street gang, yes, of the West Island. Yes, this is an old street gang. We're talking about at least 2 decades, at least, from my memory. No, for sure, minimum 2 decades ago, they're already active. Vilme is purging, actually, a sentence to perpetuity for the offing of the Hells Angels of the section of Niagara, Michael Debeta Schulde. Okay, so he's one of the 2, 3 guys. Remember that story where they went to court and one of the guys says, "Hey, I didn't know. They just told me to get in the car one day, drive them somewhere, and without my knowledge, they got out of the car. We went to sleep at a hotel first, of course. Then we left the hotel. They woke me up. We went there. We parked. They went to do something. I had no idea what. They picked me, you know. They took a chance. Then they went and obviously they may have off the Hell's Angel. They came back in the car. They were relaxed as butter. So I had no idea. And I drove them back to the hotel and we hung out the rest of the evening." Yeah, that was his version of the facts. Well, the guy who gave that version of the facts, he's been, if I remember correctly, he got offed. He got offed too. His friends went to jail. He actually got, yeah, I remember, he got released by the judge. The judge said, okay, I don't know how, but I think they released him. But he wasn't released for too long because maybe the justice didn't get him, but the underworld got him. So magically, you know, he got offed. So Vilme is part of this crowd. You understand? Remember that. Vilme is part of this crowd. And this article saying that Marquens Vilme is, I guess, a gang brother of Stevens Cantave. And Stevens Cantave, he got offed. They're talking about he was a debt collector. I don't know. How is it possible that all of this is linked somehow? You know, there's not many people willing to commit offings, you know. But Vilme purged, yeah, he was purging for the offing of a Niagara Falls member of Hell's Angels in 2019. According to our information, Stevens Cantave would have equally been, at that era, at that time, at least, a close friend of Ahna Otna. Ahna Otna, another member of a street gang. Now, this article, I glanced at it, and I said I'll do something different. I'll do a bit of research for us, so I have something to show you. Because when I saw this name, I said, huh, I don't know who this is. They're referring to this guy, and I don't want us to go home empty-handed. I don't want to waste your time. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, I didn't read this line by line, but when I did see this name, I just said, let me just Google this name, see if we can get a picture. And then one thing led to the next, and we got another link. So let's keep going. Now sorry for that little brief message, but it's just so you can follow me, man. Because look at this. Stevens Cantave would have equally been close friends, at least to Ahna Otna, another member of Blue Allegiance, who we hear about often in the last few months, it says here. And Cantave would have notably been condemned for possession of firearms in 2 times, one in 2004, one in 2009. So he's an OG by now. He's clearly an OG, and he got a sentence of 1 and 19 months, and trafficking cane and the green plant. Okay, now let's get to a little bit more information. Don't worry, I didn't forget about Otna, whoever that guy was. Let me just translate this for you, friend. And it says, what's up, Maji? Well, what's up? Welcome, Michelin, Jason Pierre Charles. I said correctly? Jason. I love saying that name. That's why I took an excuse to say it, dude. You know, we say Jason in English, but I love the French one, Jason. So I wanted to pronounce that name, bro. And then we have Izzy Harder says, "Hey, I made it again. Thanks, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, welcome, bro. Yes, it was you told us, right? The DDO. You mentioned DDO yesterday. Found a way to get into that article, bro. Now let me just translate this for you guys. Hey, feedback.
SPVM enquête sur un cinquième meurtre, le
SPVM.
cinquième meurtre de l'année sur son
What the hell
territoire. On parle
happened
d'un
there?
homme de 42 ans tué hier soir de l'ordre des Hermaux. Les suspects, eux, courent toujours. Les détails,
So it got cut off. The suspects are still on the run.
explication avec Marie-Lise Mormina. Marie-Lise.
Il n'y a plus de périmètre policier dans ce stationnement de Dollard des Ormeaux où a eu lieu le meurtre, l'assassinat de Stevens
Sorry about that.
Cantave hier soir vers 17h50. L'homme de 42
So 5:50, he was offed.
ans a été atteint au haut du corps par plusieurs projectiles d'armes à feu
He was touched in the upper torso.
alors qu'il était assis à l'intérieur d'un véhicule.
Okay, and it happened while he was seated inside of the vehicle. We don't know. Did it happen the moment he got back in his car? Or was it he was waiting in his car and he got set up? We don't know.
Stevens Cantave possédait des antécédents judiciaires. Il était connu du milieu des policiers, était lié aux gangs de rue. Ce matin, vers 7h,
So he was linked to street gangs. Nothing new for us.
le poste de commandement de la police de Montréal était toujours sur place dans ce stationnement situé sur le boulevard des Sources. Je vous laisse entendre quelques commentaires recueillis ici.
C'est pas quelque chose qui arrive souvent dans ce quartier. Je ne savais rien, je viens juste d'arriver. Ça me surprise parce que, ça ne s'arrive pas souvent.
Pas surpris.
There's a surprise. It doesn't happen often.
Écoutez, moi je pense que c'est des choses qui vont arriver de plus en plus, là.
Hey, listen, I think it's things that's going to happen more and more.
J'étais un petit peu surprise
I was
parce
a
qu'il
bit
y avait
surprised.
une autre qui était passée l'année passée, l'autre
I was a bit surprised because there's another one that happened last year at the other gym over there. She's probably talking about Del Balzo.
gym.
J'en avais entendu parler il n'y avait pas si longtemps de ça à côté au Monster Gym.
Voila, see, him too. He says, I heard about one that didn't happen too long ago at the Monsters gym. He's talking about Del Balzo.
Exactement, donc après c'est
Exactly.
ciblé, on se dit.
It was
On
targeted,
va pas
we
avoir
say.
peur tous les jours normalement, mais bon, ça fait poser des questions.
Les
It
deux
makes you
personnes
ask
qu'on vient
questions.
d'entendre faisaient référence au meurtre de Francesco Del Balso
Del
survenu
Balzo,
en
right
juin
there.
dernier. Del
Last
Balso
June.
était anciennement lieutenant du clan Rizzuto. Il a été assassiné à quelques coins de rue seulement d'ici, devant une salle d'entraînement physique. Et hier, le meurtre de Stevens Cantave a également eu
Just
lieu
move this.
dans un stationnement qui dessert un gym et plusieurs restaurants.
Sorry about that. I
Là
had
où
no
les
choice.
suspects qui ont fait feu en direction de la victime étaient à bord d'un véhicule. Ils ont pris la fuite et en ce moment, il n'y a toujours pas
So basically, they went in circles. They said absolutely nothing. My apologies, guys. Absolutely said nothing. Sure. Okay, let's check some details. So he was 42. I'm trying to see if we got something else here. Nothing. More pictures. No, this just resuming what we heard in the video. Okay, let's go to the next. So who is that guy? We talk about Ahna Otna, his associate. Here we have an Ahna Otna in the news. Actually, in this 20th of December. 20th of December. This one is a newspaper we never cover, Radio Canada. So, sorry about that. You can see him better now. My apologies. So it says here, year 2024 could begin with the sign of an escalation of violence in the underworld, are worrying the police. A source of multiple provocations, a criminal well known who has attracted the attention of, sorry about that, the attention of the SPVM and the SQ because at this time he is trying to claim the status of the godfather of street gangs that Gregory Woolley occupied when he was off. Interesting, isn't it? Identified as Ahna Otna, our investigation bureau, this newspaper, no, our sources with the SPVM actually and the SQ told us that he has quickly grabbed the attention with his Snapchat account, multiplying declarations or insult or inflammatory declarations on Snapchat that this man made on the offing of Gregory Woolley that happened in front of their baby and wife. I think this is what it is. Il a rapidement attiré l'attention avec son Snapchat. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it says. I'm surprised a little bit because he should be old enough to know not to say stuff like that. But equally known under the name of Tupac, doesn't look like Tupac. The criminal today, aged 38, has always occupied the role of hands and legs, I guess, for a account of the mafia and bikers, according to sources. What I tell you guys, doesn't matter who he is. If he thinks he's the leader, just do some math here. Just do some math. He thinks I'm not saying he's not, I don't know. But I'm saying what he thinks. He thinks he's the big shot now, Not some random dude, low-hanging fruit. He thinks he's a big shot. He has his reasons. But the biggest of big shots in street gangs is working, can't do anything without getting money from the pipeline. The pipeline must come from a Hells Angels organization or from a Italian mafioso. That's the best of them, guys. That's what I've been telling you. You're gonna be a sort of underling for one of those two major pipelines, no matter what. You look at Rabbi Al-Khalil, same thing, on the British Columbia side. But I'm focused more on the east side. When I speak about him, I really want to focus on here, as I don't know enough about that place to be able to make too many judgment calls. But over here, it's been like this over and over and over and here. They attached themselves to the hip, it seems. But this individual says, this individual would have never been a decision maker in what we would call organized crime. But he says he has nothing to the reputation of Woolley that Woolley had built for himself. He's not in the same league, affirms the SQ. So, on the side of the SPVM and on the side of, or equally on the side of the SQ, the police consider Ahna Otna is spreading falsehoods on social networks. Very interesting twist of events here. In other words, the recent sayings or wordings that Otna made, I guess, online, is only making the climate worse, I guess, or causing tensions, I'm assuming, in the criminal underworld, which the population of the metropole does not need. So the average citizen does not need him to shake things up more than it is, So this worries investigators that are specialized in organized crime. So there you have your, for those who didn't believe or that thought that we're just making fun and we like to criticize people and go left and right, here you have your evidence and your proof that if you're going to be rapping at all, they're going to be listening to every single one of your lyrics. You don't even need to rap, man. You just need to use Snapchat and they have it in for you. They're listening to everything you're saying, man. But no surprise, his ambitions to become the next godfather of gangs is not unanimous. The police said that they have contacted Otna Monday night as a duty to warn, quote. Remember, the police have a responsibility to warn if they're going to come off you? Because, it says here, there's a price on his head. Now, the price on his head is by who? That's the million-dollar question. I highly doubt that the other street gang members have money to pay a price on his head, I don't think so. Someone else has putting a price on his head. Someone way more with way more deeper pockets. We might get an answer to that. Let's see. This criminal of African origin uh, speaks well in French, in English, and Portuguese. So I'm assuming that he's one of the millions, thousands of fresh people coming in from all over the world. You know, the birthright. And I bet he was in Portugal. I guess he was in Portugal once upon a time. And every one of them, their ultimate goal is to come here. And among a lot of people, you're gonna get bad apples, of course. You're gonna get some good apples too. But he says here, he has never hidden the fact, or he has never hidden his aversion to Gregory Woolley, his dislike for Gregory Woolley, who he saw as a nuisance to his own ascension in the streets. No surprise there. And it was a known fact that in the street gang, well, no, that's a known, it's interesting what I just told you, that he found Gregory Woolley was a nuisance. That, you don't need to do too much math to understand why. It's very legitimate that he's not peculiar here. It's not something peculiar to him. It's well understood that he was a nuisance for anyone. You got to be, you can understand this. It's not just him. It's not like a flaw that he had. Very normal to think that way. But it was well known in the street that he particularly made statements about this, I guess. And when you note that he's been making statements after Gregory's offing on Snapchat, it checks out. There's a cohesion in this story. Remember, these are newspapers speaking to the SQ and the SPVM. This is where they got it. It says here, source of the SPVM, who does not have the authorization to comment publicly. So they're doing this under the table. So the SPVM and the SQ would like to remind that the majority of conflicts that have ended in offings, public offings, have, look, I find that interesting. So the SPVM and SQ are saying that the majority of the conflicts that you see, these public shootings, have taken birth from social networks, they're saying, between factions of street gangs for the last 3 years. Yes, but depends which one he's talking about. Like, yeah, sure, you could say that, but a lot of them were young kids rapping and being idiots online, maybe 20 years old, all trying to be chief keefs. I don't consider those. I'm more interested in the big names. I don't think Gregory Woolley's beef started on social media. I highly doubt that. Or Martin Robert or all of them are having any form of conflicts on social media. I really doubt that. They're grasping here, in my opinion. He believes having the means and ambitions to impose the terror and violence. He has access to many small groups of criminals who are armed, capable of executing the jobs, to pass messages, and even to open fire, adds this same police officer who's under the cover of Anonymous. Not part of that group, the hacker group, not that. Okay, culture of violence. Ahna Otna is not active only in the criminal underworld. He also lives a life, oh my God, he still lives as an artist under the name Tupac, as a rapper. Here you go. That checks out with the Snapchat public statements there. That's not going to help you one bit if you can't control that tongue. But according to a public registry of courts, he has faced justice in 2012 for trafficking stupefires for a criminal organization. Following that fact, he was arrested and multiple other times for assault, extortion. So remember, he was a collector of debts, apparently, and threats and all that jazz. Look at this. To ensure his own security, he moves around in a, what do you call this? What's the word? I think a VUS, a blindé. I forget. Someone told me what the word blindé was. I forgot. I think it means bulletproof. Either it's tinted windows or it's bulletproof. One or the other. I always forget. But I think it's bulletproof because of his fear of security. He drives around in a bulletproof car. Now, I know certain provinces that's illegal. You're not supposed to drive one. I don't know if this is the case here, but I would assume not, because they would be mentioning an arrest quickly after if they know this fact. Remember, these are facts that are coming from the police. Thank you, Bill S. Smoke. I love when we laugh, bro. That makes me happy, man. I appreciate it. If you guys got any jokes, throw them out, man. I'd love to hear it too. And en plus d'habiter dans un tour de condo, so he does live in a luxury condo in the middle of downtown Montreal. He's also in the culture of music and violence. Man, guys should take a page from King. He doesn't rap anymore. He tries to stay the fuck away from all this shit. I think that's the smartest thing to do if you have a condo in the middle of downtown Montreal and you don't have an employment record. But he is also, this is key here, guys. This is very key. This will tie up with another story I see. What a shock for me, man. He was a close friend of France Louie, nicknamed the Big Brother, who was oft also leaving his car in the neighborhood of Antic in November 2020. To those who don't remember, we just covered, maybe a few weeks ago, a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, the story of France Louie. Remember, it's that video where it says gambling desk. He was oft for running or being part of a gambling desk for maybe the mafia or one of them or the Hells Angels. Who knows? But we know it was the mafia. It had to be the mafia. Sorry, my memory's coming back. It had to be for the mob. Franz Louis got off. So he was a close friend of Franz Louis. Franz Louis. So there you have it, man. And until 2021, he was considered as a close associate of mafioso Davide Barberio. And Davide Barberio, according to these newspapers, because I'm just trying to understand what's going on here, nothing more. I have no needed knowledge whatsoever. So take it for what it's worth. I only translate the news. I remember translating in the news, it said Davide Barberio was once on the side of the enemies of the Rizzuto clan, and then he had switched. Something about switching. And remember, then once he had switched, there was an attempt on his life, maybe a few months later or a year later. You guys remember? We didn't really cover. We covered that a long time ago. That it was an attempt on his life in front of his kids, in front of his home, or something like that. Now we just mentioned France Louis gambling desk, and whose gambling desk connected to which? Well, I don't know, man. But we just know that France Louis is a very close friend of this Otna, Ahna Otna. Sorry if I forgot his name already. It's a hard name to remember. Ahna, okay, Ahna. So now we know that Ahna, it says here, could this be our link to explaining France Louis connection? Well, Ahna Otna, who's friends with France Louis, who's gone for a gambling desk thing, he's saying that Ahna Otna, this crip, until 2021, he was considered a close associate of Davide Barberio. Now, remember, I just read that Ahna Otna was a debt collector somewhere. And he does have charge for guns, extortion, and all that. Everything's lining up just perfectly for us to say yes. That's what's going on. And I'm just reading here that he was a close friend, associate. My apologies, associate. So who was he getting those contracts from at a certain point? Do you think? Maybe the Davide Barberio has something to do with that. Maybe, man. Well, the police affirmed that he was the contract executioner and extortionist. Here you have it. To settle debts for gambling. There you go. And loan sharking, collecting exorbitant amounts. But there was a conflict that has ended their relationship. Now we're talking about a relationship ending. No? Yes, that's what we read. Remember, we just also read that someone got offed. That was someone else, not France Louis. Someone else. Today's news that I'm covering was the one on Dollar des Ormeaux in front of the gym. I forget the guy's name. Where is he, man? Before I forget, what's his name? Stevens Cantave. Clearly a crip. This thing is convoluted, no? When we try to make links here. But we're not grasping at air here. We're not. Things are lining up just perfectly fine here. And there are direct links that are uncontestable too. I don't think these newspapers making up that they're good friends, you know? All of this making up their best friends, all of them? I don't think so, man. So, anyways, let's keep going. We're getting into more juicy bits. Remember, this article is written in December 2023. Today, Ahna Otna is tied by police. And remember, this is information that this article got is directly from investigators from the Stevens Quebec and SPVM, allegedly. If you believe, you know, I believe him. This is way too detailed, but they're saying, according to these sources, Ahna is linked by police to Patrick Locke, a member of the Hells Angels, targeted by an attempted offing in July 21st, 2022. So Patrick Locke, there was an attempt on him 2 years approximately after France Louie. Now, I'm not saying they're linked whatsoever. I'm just putting a timeline there for us. But there was an attempt on a Hell's Angel in a cafe in Rue Jean Talon. Cafe, you know? There's just too many commonalities in the news these days. Did you notice all those cafes burning? I don't think they're all just. I'm not saying these are linked, this story of this guy, but these cafes are criminalized, man. You can't tell me no, man. You can't say no forger. It's impossible. All these cafes are burning. They're just burning by accident. I don't think so, man. And then we got a guy getting offed in a cafe. And he was linked to Ahna Otna as well. But look, it says here that Locke would have obtained a guarantee of protection from Ahna Otna, a sign of loyalty. What does that mean? What the heck does that mean? I don't know. Now, I found something interesting. Maybe give us a little bit of timeline. Not often you can find stuff like this. It just popped on Google search, honestly. I didn't do any clever searches or anything like that. No credit goes to me. It was there in front of my face. It's hard to ignore. But we have a Quebec enterprise here to just show us how crafty Otna Ahna may have been. Because I don't think there's 10 Ahna Otna in Montreal City. I really don't think so. I really don't think so. I'm willing to put my nuts on the fire, man. My balls. So we have 92220946 Quebec Inc. Unnamed. It was formed on May 1st, 2010. And it's talking about the restaurant with alcohol license. Great. I like to see the alcohol license there. But what happened? Let's see. The register shows no bankruptcies. Okay. Okay, nothing there for us, but look at this. Ahna Otna's name pops up right there. We have president. He was the president, you know. Address 7751 Deuxième Avenue, apartment 3. Apartment. So he put, that seems to, I'm confused about this. Can you look, are commercial properties where you can get an alcohol license and all that ever have an address with apartment 3? I have a hard time believing that. Something's weird for me, you know. I'm lacking knowledge somewhere. Someone can clarify that. Or did he literally just put address his own home? How could that be his own home and then they're talking about a restaurant with alcohol permit? A little bit confusing here. But let's look at the dates. 2010, the initial declaration for you people with a business acumen. You'll know exactly what this stuff is. Forger has no idea. But you have a certificate of constitution, I guess, when he incorporated itself in 2010. Then we have a intention to dissolve, liquidation. Remember, we didn't talk about bankruptcy. It says here that there is no signs of bankruptcy. So he didn't register for bankruptcy whatsoever for the business. So what do we have here? We have between April 2010 to June 2011. So a year and 2 months. Within a year and 2 months, they closed this business. They dissolved it. Interesting. Why? What? How? What was he doing? What was he up to? This Otna. What were you up to, friend? So that's it. I just put that on the side now. And now we get to more spicy parts, my friend. I always keep the best for last. The title just says Bikers, Gangs, and Organized Crime Lebanese. And we're looking at this picture here, beautiful picture taken in 2020, and it's gonna tie a lot of things for us, it seems, because we have Gilles Lambert, Hells Angels of Montreal, standing there, and right to his left here. You see my mouse today? Great. You see the guy on the left? Do you see that name? France Louie. Wow, what a coincidence. This might actually end up answering tons of my questions. And then from behind we have another man of equal height, a Joseph Chamal. I'm assuming that's where the Lebanese part comes in. And then on the right here we have the Tupac or Ahna Otna, but he doesn't look nothing like Tupac. But he does wear blue. Tupac wore red, but he wears blue right there. But you can see him right there with the black glasses. And then after that, we have Francois the cow, the cheese cow. I'm kidding. Francois Vachon, the Hells Angels, Montreal MC. So what do we have here? We have organized crime Lebanese. We have criminal Haitian, crip gangs right there. And we have Hells Angels leader right there. Oh, and then we mentioned David de Barberio earlier in somewhere in this in this team. They're working all together somehow, or directly or indirectly related. For us commoners who have no idea what the heck is going on, we'll try to make sense of all this. So this was taken by the police. They surprised street gang members France Louie, Ahna Otna, Hells Angels, Gilles Lambert, François Vachon, and Joseph Chamaille in the middle of a reunion in a park in Laval on the 6th of May 2020. There you go, taking pictures of them together. What were these people meeting about? What is a Hell's Angel meeting with a deceased man on their left? Could they have had anything at all to do with the deceased man right there? What are the chances that they don't? It's not the average citizen that wants France Louie dead, man. Makes you ask questions, makes you wonder. The only actor that's missing here is someone standing here that's part of the Italian mafia. We're just missing that. But let's keep going. 6 months before being offed, France Louie had participated in a meeting or summit between important actors of organized crime in Montreal in the middle of the day, in a park, in a neighborhood, in Laval. Let me guess. Chomedzi? Let me guess. Let's look. So the SPVM, wait, when is this article? Okay, this article was written in last year, 2023 of April. So in front of the jury, Emmanuel Robert Hunt, we spoke about this guy. It reminds me of something. We spoke of this man, I promise you. Recently, we must have. Il y avait Thomas Labrèche, qui s'est ouvert il y a 2 semaines pour le meurtre. So there was a process, I guess, in front of a jury for Robert Hunt. Yeah, these are the guys who offed. I get it. These are the 2 guys who offed France Louie. Yes, the unsavory guy with the unsavory face. He looked a little bit angry. So they were on court. Now we had the end result. I think they got sentenced. But for the offing of France Louie, who died on November 19th, 2020 in Villeray. It's in Saint-Michel neighborhood. But France Louie was described by the sergeant, Detective Francis Deron, as an individual known by the police for many years for being part of the underworld, or the the main stuff, the main news in the underworld. So the investigator, notably said that on the 6th May 2020, while there was a pandemic for COVID that was at its peak, they're saying, in the middle of the day, Louis presented himself in Parc des Coccinelles in Boulevard Chomedzi, in the angle of Boulevard Perron in Laval, in company of Ahna Otna. What did I tell you? Chomedzi. It's funny as hell, man. Sometimes I get lucky like that. Dans le petit parc enclavé, in this little park in a residential neighborhood, we find children's structures. So, there's a park. We have a baseball court, they say. And 2 men having met three other men. We have Gilles Lambert, François Vachon, both members of the Hells Angels, and Joseph Chamay, and described as a head of a Lebanese organized crime faction. This meeting has preoccupied police officers who were surveilling them because, in addition to the five men being present, there were at least 7 or 8 individuals who were also prowling the park, around the park, sort of like watching over. Imagine that. Waiting for an ambush, perhaps. Not trusting each other. Looking about. Making sure. So I'm assuming these 5 guys do not trust each other. They came to meet, and each one had their own guys outside just prowling around, trying to discourage any last minute ambushes. Could you imagine that? It's like a movie. By their behavior, they seemed, those 7 or 8 men prowling around the park, creating a perimeter for these 5 to speak. By their behavior, they seemed armed, wouldn't you say? Because they had met members, because there was a meetings between Hell's Angels. Okay, there you go. Because when there's meetings with Hell's Angels members, there's also their COQs, their underlings, waiting about. Those who want to join, and they'll do anything at all. But ça nous inquiétait, that preoccupied us. In the middle of the day, in a residential neighborhood, in a children's park, right? These are guys of the highest echelons of organized crime. Onha is one of the actors, the most important of organized crime actually, so post-Woolley. He also met François Louie many times in the investigation called Abuse. That's the name of the investigation, in which Louis was the target. So we got an answer there. Louis was part of an investigation, and they may have been afraid that he was going to speak, and they think it's a good idea to off him before he speaks, perhaps. But as history has taught us, if you proceed this way, you create so much fear, you're also going to create side effects of having people be too afraid of you and snitch before nothing even happens. Make it so much easier for people to betray you when you're completely ruthless like this, in my opinion. But a name that was heard regularly. At the moment where he was offed in November 2020, Louis was in fact accused with 3 of his accomplices in an extortion affair. Checks out, makes sense. So we're confirming a little bit why he was killed. Shoot, I shouldn't have said that word. Thank you, YouTube. He was part of a criminal organization that was loaning money to people who were having difficulties. And he was trying, through threats, to maintain those payments, those extortion payments, with exorbitant interest, where you're not really paying the principal. Louis was trying to maintain those payments as long as possible. And there you go, completing exactly what I just told you. At high interest rates. At the longest time possible at high interest rates. Make that payment never ending, creating fear and terror, ruining people's lives. There you have it, France Louie. Let's keep down. Louis equally has criminal background for threats that dated back to 1991, where he was the object or a target of 5 different files in matters of violence, arms, stupefier trafficking between 1992 to 2007. France Louie was part of names that they heard regularly throughout the years. The cop says, I saw him grow within the ranks of organized crime, says Francis de Rome. And so this is it. Let me just see if we got anything else. So this takes out a little bit of credibility from his mother, who likes to pretend like his son, like she was speaking in court from what I saw as if her son was an angel and no one has the right to take the life of him, Well, when the guy is threatening other people's lives, stealing their souls, sweat, blood, and tears on penalty of death, broken bones and all that, I don't know, mama. Maybe you need to smell the coffee, you too, You know what I'm saying? He didn't he wasn't a nice guy, man. Your son. Wake up. Anyways, man. You know, I didn't want to read that, but that's all I needed to confirm. He was threatening people, making them pay, or else. So, Mama, you were wrong. Not saying he deserved to be offed or anything, you know. That's not for me to judge. But don't act like it's a surprise and he was dragged into this. He was hardly dragged. That looks like 1992 to 2007 and graduating, and he wasn't delivering flowers there. Anyways, that's it, man. Wow. So we add a new player to the stories because we're definitely going to get this thing is going to progress sooner or later. So they eliminated France Louie. At Naona, they say he was a falling out with David de Barberio. Now, the fall guy in all of this, it seems it was France Louie. They blamed him, they offed him. Do you guys really want to do business with the Hells Angels? They have a freaking stunning track record. They have a very, very stunning track record of any business partner they have, it seems, or many, they when they're slightly inconvenient, for any reason at all, I don't think it has to be his fault at all. It just needs to be in police crosshairs. That guy's gonna go. Do you really guys really want to do business with them? Do you really blame the guy from Quebec, Picturmel? You know, he's gonna end up becoming a legend. You know, you really blame the guy and the guys maybe from Montreal, certain ones of them to give a battery on his back and say, "You damn right, bro. Yeah, let's do this. We're not paying these guys. We don't want to have nothing to do with you." Seems like when they have something to do with you, look where it ends up. You know. And even did it, even have your own people. Gilles, was it Gilles Lambert? I don't remember one of them. I think we just read that, no, Locke, Patrick Locke, someone about Locke. He got offed, or there was an attempted offing. I don't know, man. That's not a good track record. You gotta find a way to make peace, not be so paranoid, maybe, man. There's gotta be a better way, you know? Gotta be a better way. It just creates more havoc and destruction. It leads to the next. That's my opinion on the matter. Anyways, it's been a pretty. How long are we at? 47 minutes. I'm trying to go shorter. You know, I didn't go too short, but at least maybe 10 minutes shorter than the usual. So I don't want to. I want to take advantage of this. Give a shout out to as many people I can remember. BLS Smoke, Feedback Fred, Steve Vallée. Yeah, I forgot. Hello, man. Steve Vallée. Michelin. He says he's in English, man. He says it's half English, half French. Michelin, Jason, Pierre Charles. So it's Jason, the man in the middle, Ibatlas, DJ, and Pat Dagenet, Mr. Latin, and we said DJ. Hey, shout out to you and the others. So there was what, like 10 people? Shout out to the 29 others also who are joining in. So we have new player to talk about in the future. Ahna Otna. Try to remember this, guys, because I have so many people. I can't remember all this. But remember Ahna Otna, Tupac, they say. I ain't calling you Tupac, man. Never. Tupac was a legend, man. And he died a legend. He was a good guy. He had a good heart. And he was the greatest rapper alive. He rapped about something. He had substance behind his words. He was 25-year-old man, but he was 60 trapped in a 25-year-old man. He's the greatest rapper alive, man. May he rest in peace. He's the only Tupac. Thank you, guys. Have a great night. Merci beaucoup. Thank you to you.